They're calling it Final Reckoning. Does that mean this will be Tom Cruise's final movie?
And there are actual rumors and speculation that Tom Cruise himself wants someone to take the mantle. Hey everyone, this is FaZe.
Hey, this is Adil.
And welcome to the FaZe and Adil Show, where we talk about all things movies and TV shows. And today, we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible.
Yeah, man. Ethan Hunt.
That's right. So the final movie is coming out later this year. It's called Mission Impossible: The Dead Reckoning.
Okay.
Sorry, The Final Reckoning.
Final Reckoning.
The last one was called Death Reckoning Part 1. And though this one was supposed to be called Dead Reckoning Part 2, it got a new name.
Why?
Well, the first Mission Impossible, the first part, Dead Reckoning Part 1, it underperformed at the box office.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good movie.
I liked it too. I think it was a very solid movie, but unfortunately it underperformed. It made $571.1 million.
Why did it underperform? Do you know those reasonings?
So there were a few reasons, apparently. One of the reasons was competition. It was getting a lot of competition. This is right around that time of Barbenheimer.
Okay, so, both phenomenal box office hits, huge,
And that entire month, right? Unfortunately, it was around the same time that this movie was coming out.
Yeah.
But I remember for at least a month, all you would hear about is Barbie and Oppenheimer. People were going to see either one of those two movies.
Yeah, I saw Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, yeah.
And I think this one, unfortunately, kind of got sandwiched in between, right? And also, I think the marketing could have been better for this.
Yeah, honestly, I barely knew it was coming out till like someone told me about it. I think until you told me about it, I had no idea really.
Yeah, so the film's marketing, I think, was a little lackluster. And I think that they didn't do as much as they usually do. I think they were probably banking on the fact that we've got Tom Cruise, it's a big brand, people will go. But I think nowadays, you have to step into marketing, right? There's all these movies coming out, and especially with Barbie and Oppenheimer, you kind of have to step it up, right? Because their marketing for both those movies were on fire, right? So unfortunately, the marketing, the competition, and also audience expectations, I think at that time, people wanted something very fresh, different, original, right? That's why movies like Barbie and Oppenheimer even succeeded, right? Because they're two completely different forms of cinema, right? Two completely different audiences.
And they were the first of their installment, not the seventh.
Exactly, yeah. It's not like they're part of a franchise or there's a lot of brand recognition. Barbie, I guess, maybe a little bit, but two completely different audiences, and both those movies succeeded.
Yeah,
tons of money.
Huge. They were one of the biggest box office hits like ever in history.
Yeah, so I think with all of that going on, I think the audience just wanted something fresh, something different. Let's be honest, this was the 7th Mission Impossible movie. So we kind of know there's kind of like a formula, right? There's something going on. Ethan Hunt though we have fun watching it, we kind of know the basic formula, right? And I think one thing that hurt the movie, and this is just what I've noticed, right? When you see a movie being marketed as part 1, it kind of leaves people dissatisfied. Because you go in thinking, oh, you're going to see a nice movie, only to find out it's a half a movie in a way.
Oh, yeah. And you're going to be left with some type of cliffhanger.
Exactly. And
so it won't even be, like, climax won't be that good.
Right.
Most of the time.
Most of this. Or maybe it's like, Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Like Infinity War, which is like but even, Avengers Infinity War, that was supposed to be a part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, well, which we knew, But
I think it was smart on them to change the title. Because then when you watched Infinity War, you watched it as its own movie, right?
It was phenomenal. I think one of the best,
But I think from a marketing perspective, they made a good decision, because they could have easily called it part 1 and Endgame would have been part 2. But okay, something's going to happen in Infinity War part 1, which is why we need to watch part 2 to figure it out. But with this, it was kind of like that, where you knew, like, for example, I knew that Ethan Hunt is running after some key, right? And this key, if got into the wrong hands, could unleash, like, hell, right? But isn't that like the basic plot of every spy movie?
Especially all his movies. He's always one of the few people that knows about something that's gonna ruin or end the world or something, and
only he can stop it.
Only Ethan Hunt, only our Tom Cruise is the one in the middle of it, and is last man who can save it.
And I think that's the thing, right? I think people wanted something original to watch. You see movies like Barbie coming out and Oppenheimer, and people are like, that's what we want to watch, something different. We don't want to watch something that's, same for Marvel movies, right? I mean, even those haven't been, put Deadpool and Wolverine aside, they haven't really been performing as well because it's like a basic formula.
Yeah.
Movies that are a part of a franchise really have to do something different to succeed. But anyways, that's enough of us just talking about why it underperformed. But the main reason we want to, talk to you guys today is about the future of the franchise, right? Clearly, the second movie, they changed the title, by the way. Did you know that?
Yeah, you say
the Final Reckoning. Yeah, because I think they realized that the part one didn't do so well, right? I mean, 571 million is not bad.
Yeah,
a lot of directors.
I liked it. I enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it that same month as Oppenheimer and Barbie dropped, but I eventually did watch it and I enjoyed it.
Like Rogue Nation made $682.7 million, and Fallout made $791 million.
Yeah, that's a lot. And
it's supposed to go up and up and up, right? Like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, they're going up. But this movie went below Rogue Nation at 500, and I think that was kind of like a wake-up call.
You're probably right. I think it's because of, the continuance of the story, seventh installment. I think people are getting tired of all these Mission Impossibles being not impossible, because how many times can you be successful in an impossible mission, right? Eventually, and we've never seen him we've seen him at the end of the day save the world every film.
Absolutely.
He's lost people for sure in some certain films and couldn't save everyone, but for the most part he's won, right? Every time.
Yeah. And I think with them changing the title of this eighth movie, kind of just it confirms that the last one didn't do well, and they don't really want not anything to do with it, but they want the audience to move on from that, right? Which is why they're not calling it Dead Reckoning Part 2, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that I think hurts movies more than anything
else. But then that begs the question: if they're calling it Final Reckoning, does that mean this will be Tom Cruise's final movie? Or does that mean is this the final Mission Impossible movie? It could be. Those are two separate questions.
I think they're marketing this as the final movie, because anytime you use the word final, right, you're saying this is the conclusion. Also, for the trailer that they just dropped for the Super Bowl, right? Ethan Hunt says, "Just trust me one last time."
I need you to trust me one last time.
If you think about it, one last time. It's like they're purposely making you think this is the final. This is like the epic conclusion, right?
Yeah, because why are they using those terms, that terminology?
Final, last.
Yeah.
Also, Tom Cruise is 60 years old?
Yeah.
Over 60, something like that. So he's getting old, right?
Yeah, especially he's his own stuntman, right?
Yeah.
For these movies.
And I feel like there's only so much he can do, right? Now, I'm not saying stunt-wise, right? But I'm sure he wants to explore other characters. If you look at longevity, he's been a superstar for quite some time in Hollywood, but he probably wants to do something different, right? His last movie was also Mission Impossible. This movie is Mission Impossible. Rumor has it he might be doing another Top Gun, right? So maybe he's done with the franchises, and maybe he wants to move on to something else after Top Gun 3, or maybe even in Top Gun 3, he has a smaller role of a mentor or something. There are rumors of him trying to do a movie set in outer space. I have no idea what that entails, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
But
what we've seen him, he'll be phenomenal in that, right?
And he can't do that if he keeps doing these movies, because these movies take a long time to make.
And eventually, you can't keep solving impossible missions
every single time.
We don't know whether his character is gonna be okay, let me retire now, I'm done for good, or whether something else happens to his character, if he sacrifices his life, possibly.
That would be very.
They kill him off.
That would be very gutsy. Yeah, that would be very gutsy.
We've only seen we haven't seen happy endings per se in every movie, but if they're calling the Final Reckoning, maybe he does something to help save his friends, because I think that's the point of almost every movie. He never sacrifices his friends or ideals when solving these impossible missions.
And how many times is Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt he's going to keep asking for help one more time, or, choose this mission if you, what does he always say? Here's your mission if you choose to accept.
If you choose to accept,
It's like, how, it's like, there's only so much you can do with that.
It's so funny. He's always the one guy that they go to. There's no other Ethan Hunts in this universe where they're like.
And I think that's what I want. I want this universe to expand outside of just Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, because I want to see all the other great spies, right?
Yeah.
Like people that Tom Cruise has worked with, and we've seen so many phenomenal characters and spies in this universe. I'm not saying I'm tired of seeing Ethan Hunt because I love Tom Cruise. I love his portrayal, but he's getting on the older side. It would be great to maybe push like this as his final movie and then continue the series.
And there are actual rumors and speculation that Tom Cruise himself wants someone to take the mantle.
Okay, see that. So then I really do think he's going to be moving on.
But I have mixed feelings about that.
Why?
Well, first off, the person that's rumored is Glen Powell.
But I like Glen Powell. I think he did.
He's good, but here's my issue, right? I don't want him to play Ethan Hunt.
No, I agree. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because when I think of Mission Impossible, here's the thing. When I think of Mission Impossible, I don't think of Ethan Hunt. I think of Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Every trailer you see, Tom Cruise, big letters, capital. Yeah.
It's about him. You know what I mean? Like, for example, with James Bond, right? Every 5 or 6 movies or so, you see a different James Bond. You kind of expect that, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a new James Bond. With Ethan Hunt in cinema, there's only been one Ethan Hunt. It's, Tom Cruise who started it, and I think it's going to be Tom Cruise who ends it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't know. I think Glen Powell could be interesting to like take that. I guess
he's good looking and he can be a great actor.
He could take it to the next level as long as I agree. He shouldn't. If they're restarting the series, maybe perhaps do it with a different character, not named Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Ethan Hunt is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt, and regardless of who you recast, I think no one will ever be able to live up to Tom Cruise because this man does his own stunts.
Yeah.
Like you can't find, and he's one of the greatest superstars in Hollywood history, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just well known for that, and I think Glen Powell will be great. But
I think he'll be great as long as he's not playing Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
And it's about his own, like he's his own spy or agent and is doing his own stuff. Because one advantage that Mission Impossible has over, like the James Bond series, right? Or 007 is that with 007, that is Agent James Bond. So whether you call it the 007 series or the James Bond movies,
like James Bond, it's James Bond.
It's James Bond, right?
Yeah.
But this saga, right, series is not named after Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
It's called Mission Impossible, right? Yeah. So anybody can take the mission forward, right? Yeah. So I think that's what I like. I just don't want it to be like, oh, there's a new Ethan Hunt.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think like we said, it'll be injustice to Tom Cruise's character ability to act as that, and then no one can.
Because even if Glen Powell, does it, or whoever does it, right? I can still see people saying 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, right? When there's like a new generation of an audience, oh, let's go watch that new Mission Impossible, right? Because it's not about Ethan Hunt anymore. It's just about the mission.
I want to see that mission. I want to see that Impossible. And it's always going to be great to see Tom Cruise initially in those first 6, 7 movies that he made, right? Like he was that guy, but I feel like it's time for him to hang up the cleats and like retire from this role just because professionally, I think he wants to do other things, experience different type of roles. And I feel like usually when you get past 7 movies, it's a lot. Like we saw the Fast and Furious series get to like 10, 11.
They always kind of go downhill.
Like you can only do too much of the same type of film, right? And like I hope when they recreate Mission Impossible, if that's even the thing they want to do, like Glen Powell will be a great candidate for that.
Definitely. But at the end of the day, we want to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Mission Impossible movie? Did you like the previous one? Did you like Dead Reckoning Part 1? Whatever your thoughts are, whatever your comments are, leave them down below. And also let us know if you are still interested in seeing Tom Cruise play Ethan Hunt, for the next few Mission Impossible movies, or do you think it's time for someone else to take the legacy forward? And like I said, whatever your thoughts are, leave them down in the comment section below. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you next time.